Hello and welcome back. We are finally playing some more Factorio. I know it's been a while, but we're getting back to it. And there will be many Factorio episodes to come, do not worry. So, last we left off, I believe we just finished creating the belt factory, the yellow belts. So I fixed some issues that I noticed earlier. One of the long arm inserters was facing the wrong way, and one of the things wasn't even, the assemblers weren't even producing anything. So that is fixed and out of the way. And then I walked down, saw the wall needed work, so I'm gonna grab some stone bricks, make sure that it has enough coal and everything. And then I get confused, well, not confused, I'm just trying to get my thoughts in order because it's been a little while. So I'm checking on everything up in the power area. It's doing pretty well. That will need some upgrades though. So I come down here, continue the wall, and I want to stretch the wall all the way out to that lake there. So the biters won't really have a choice as which way to come in. So just using the terrain to my advantage there. And then walk up, and I decide to, since this episode we're going to be adding, I think, 4 new modules to the factory. We're definitely going to need some more iron. Not so much copper so far, but we will once the green circuits start requiring tons of resources. Which they will, because if there's one thing you need the most in the late game, it is green circuits. They kind of get ridiculous. It's out of hand. Anyway, make some magazines for the turret, and I also make an SMG and a shotgun. Well, I attempt to make a shotgun, but I accidentally make a pistol instead, so I have 2 pistols. And right here, since I'm going to need a 3rd branch of iron, I make a 3-way belt balancer. Or a 3-lane, which just means a 4-lane with the excess from the first lane. Excess from one of the lanes just going back into the beginning. So it's just kind of like carrying the remainder and whatnot. Anyway, now I'm trying to figure out where I want to put my next module for copper wire. And I'm kind of just wandering around, zooming the map out a bunch, trying to figure out where I want it to go, and I decide I want it to go all the way to the left. Because that's where I have the most space to expand downward, and it'll be easy to merge with the yellow belts. So I start making a copper line all the way out there, and underground again. And then at this point I kind of decide to give up on the original pattern that I was doing with the modules where they weave in and out and everything. Just because it takes a while to set up, and I just didn't really feel like doing it. So we're bringing some variety into our factory. It was kind of getting boring of it looking exactly the same everywhere. So I'm just counting out all the belts and then go back up. So this is a part of the factory that I want to be producing tons and tons of copper wire, because that is a huge resource. I think the green circuit requires 3 copper wire to 1 iron plate. So we're going to be using a lot of it. So I make a... What do I make? I'm making some assemblers right now. And I'm going to make a splitter to merge onto that track. I come up here and make sure our copper production is going well. Because we're going to begin to go... can't talk. We're going to begin to go through a lot of copper plates now. So making some splitters, walk back up here to balance the belts better as well. So there we go. That's going to go all the way down, and we're going to have evenly balanced belts the entire length of the factory. And I start putting in the assemblers, trying to figure out how I want to do this as well. And then, of course, I need some more supplies for them. And then I'm also looking at what I really want to go for next, looking at trains, because we're going to need that for increasing the production. But first and foremost, steel furnaces and steel processing. That's the next research I'm going to do. And then for whatever reason, I'm using yellow inserters right now. It's a bad idea. We're gonna need to be putting copper in as fast as it possibly can go. But I'm using yellow inserters instead of blue. Don't know why. Right there I'm putting gaps in for offloading, or the output belts, because I'm still going to try and do the circular design with the output belts, just to see how it works. And then I think I end up removing the middle inserters just because they ended up being in the way. So here's the output belt going underneath here, and then in between the two is where the belts are actually going to go. And these are also going to be in a circular pattern, like normal. I'm going to warn you, by the end of this episode, and certainly next episode, our factory goes full spaghetti. Well, not entirely spaghetti, there's still modules and everything, but it is very clustered. So the neatness kind of disappears. It does look very cool. So it's neat in the sense that it looks neat. As in cool, neat. But yeah, it gets out of hand pretty quickly. And here I'm just trying to figure out the best way to do this, and then I realize I don't like how it kind of goes in like that, so I get rid of them and kind of increase the gap. And also it wasn't symmetrical, so making it symmetrical halfway down on each side, just counting everything to make sure, and I eyeballed it correctly that time. So that means I need to tear down the other side, which I do, and then run stuff underground for that. And then go through the top as well. This isn't entirely necessary because I'm not actually going to be offloading on the top, as far as I know so far. And I might end up redesigning this once the need for iron increases, because I don't think 4 is going to be enough for late game. It won't be difficult to do, which is good. It's just going to be something I have to keep in mind. And right here I'm trying to fix the balancer because it was going on the wrong side of the belt. So here we go, fixing that. And that should be good. Yep. So now we got an even amount on both sides of the belt. Belt is fully saturated. And now I'm just actually setting up the copper production. So there we go. And I need to put a balancer somewhere on it, which luckily is really easy with this design. I can just put it in one of the corners. And right here I realized I shouldn't use yellow inserters, so I use blue inserters, which takes a little bit to make because I lack a lot of resources. But one of the benefits to starting green science is assembler belts are just kind of on a belt line right now. And they are, attacked by aliens. And they actually did some damage this time. They almost destroyed one of the mining drills, and they destroyed 2 yellow belts. So I need to start with military preparations up top. And then I looked at the map because 1, I was checking for the nest up north, and 2, I didn't really know where, or the indicator for stuff being damaged was still there, and I was worried that there were more blighters I didn't see. Anyway, make a turret because we're going to need defenses up to the north now. Put that there, and take some of my magazines out and put it back in the turret. And I finally realized that I didn't actually make a shotgun for the first time. So I make a shotgun and some shells, and those are very good at going through at least the early aliens. We will need to make armor-piercing ammo and upgraded shotgun ammo soon, because we will... the more you kill the aliens, the more they evolve and become harder to kill, which is a really cool mechanic. I like that. Anyway, as I was saying before, now we have yellow belts just kind of sitting out on the in the module, so I don't have to craft them anymore. I can just run over and pick them up. So now we have copper going on our belt, and this right here, this module is going to be the green circuit module. So we have this going all the way around, coming back up, and then I'm gonna have to draw a iron line all the way across there and load that on here. And I already have that partially set up, so now I just need to go underneath of everything, whoop, all the way over, and then here I can just pick up a bunch of yellow belts, and I accidentally pick up well, I guess it's not accidental. As a side effect, I pick up the iron gear wheels and the iron plates, but seeing as how a lot of crafting recipes use them, I'm not complaining at all. So, now I'm putting in the assemblers to actually create the green circuits, and I have 5 blue inserters, placing them onto the belt, which should be enough. Checking the power because I hadn't checked that in a while, and we are still green throughout the factory, which is good. So now I'm just figuring out how to set up all the power, and I want to have, for the ratio to work well, 3 blue inserters for the copper, because the ratio for green circuits is 3 copper wires to 1 iron plate. So I have 4 inserters putting things in. And then there we go. Apparently I missed. Oh, right, no, I was putting my excess copper into those assemblers. So then I'm just waiting for the blue inserters to finish crafting, which takes a little bit because I don't have inserters being crafted, but I will soon. So that will also be very useful along with the yellow belt. Alright, so that finished up, and I also started making some more walls. And I should have enough to get all the way across to the lake now. So now I'm going to do the same fashion as I did before. Have that go underneath, take out the middle part, and then extend the output belt through there. And then for this factory, I decided to make a T shape instead of a plus shape for the output belts, because I'm not going to need to go up there, I realized, because I couldn't possibly output that way. So we will put some more underground belts, and to the right is where I will be putting the yellow inserters. And finally, we have some green circuits going, and I put a balancer in there. So now it looks like everything's keeping up. Unfortunately, I completely lied there. The copper wire is not keeping up. It's not making it all the way around to the, it looks like the last 2 assemblers. The first 2 assemblers are wiping out the supply. Actually, the first one's wiping out the supply. We're going through it really fast. So that means we need more copper wire. So now I need to figure out how I want to do that. So I take out that plus, and I put in, I think I put in another assembler, because we're going to need a lot more copper wire. And then I realized the belt is not balancing correctly too, which is going to need to be taken care of. And here we go. Yeah, belt balancing can kind of be annoying sometimes. So that should be good. Hopefully that increased production will work. Are you going to make it around? Unfortunately, it's not really working too well, so I need to figure something else out. So right now I am purging everything on the belts right now, because I want to have 1 full belt for copper wire, like so, because I think we're going to need a completely saturated belt to keep up with the 4 assemblers. And then I'm going to have an inner loop of iron going in the 2x14 gap in the middle, and then slightly underground. I need to move that red inserter arm. So I need to take out some of the electrical poles. Anyway, this is how I'm planning on doing it. I'm going to have a very long, thin iron belt in the middle, like so. And then the red inserters are going to grab from the middle and put in. And hopefully that should be enough for, yeah, that was completely unnecessary. Hopefully that should be enough for the the circuit production. So that's what it's going to look like, and it's going to wrap around and go back into the assembler. As you can see, now we are finally getting some good levels off of the circuit production. Copper wire is getting all the way around, which is very good. And I think I'm going to call it there. Thanks everybody for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next episode of Factorio.